Well, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. I'm so glad that you made some time to come and sit with us, because I can only imagine having no idea how to campaign for something, especially something the size of mayor of Metro Louisville. I just imagine that it's a very, very time-consuming thing, so thank you.
It is, but it really has been such a positive experience. I've met so many people across this entire city. I've strengthened relationship with friends that I had. I've met so many new friends. I've learned so much. Actually, one of the most fun things that I've done is there are 623 precincts across our whole city. And I've literally run through every one of them. I love to run, and I found that a great way to see every corner of our city and to meet people and listen to their issues unique to their neighborhood, but also issues that are common for all of us in Louisville. So it's been a great experience.
You mentioned running. I forget, I did see you at one of the 5K, I believe.
Oh, I love 5Ks, yeah.
At Cherokee. I just have this idea that trying to remember the amount of names that somebody who met that many people in that amount of time, that would drive me to distraction every day.
Well, I can't say that I've remembered everyone's name,
but you try.
But I often remember their face. I remember stories that they told. I remember where we were when we had the conversation. And most importantly, I remember the stories that they're telling me from their lived experiences about what's going well in our city, or unfortunately, things that are not going well, and what we as a community can do to implement solutions to make Louisville a safer city, a healthier city, a stronger city. So those are really the things that stick with me, that I not just keep in my mind, but I jot down, and that I really talk about a lot during the campaign, and hopefully if I have the opportunity to be the next mayor, that we'll be working on as an administration.
I can appreciate that there is something to be said about really taking in somebody's story. That certainly makes it makes people memorable when you have that level of exchange. So in case people have not fully paid attention, I think we all get into a space where we get hyper-focused on issue after issue,
right,
where sometimes we fail to actually see people. Introduce yourself to us. Talk a little bit about your background, who you are, and how you've come to this race.
Well, I am a proud product of Jefferson County Public Schools. I grew up here in Louisville, and then went away for college and law school. In law school, the best thing that happened to me was I met my amazing wife, Rachel, of now 23 years, 23 years, on a blind date when I was in law school and she was getting her master's degree. And I was very fortunate that she agreed to move back to Louisville with me, even though she's not from here, after we both graduated from our programs. And so we've made our life here. We have two amazing boys, Daniel and Benjamin. And really, family has been the most important thing to me my entire life. And I'm very blessed to have an amazing family, a supportive family. I'm so proud of our two boys, and I'm so fortunate to have Rachel as my wife, my partner, my best friend. It's been amazing. Professionally, I am an attorney, but I really spent most of my career revitalizing urban neighborhoods and creating jobs in urban neighborhoods, rebuilding neighborhoods and communities. I did that in part through when I was a lawyer, working with some federal tax programs that were designed to encourage investments in low-income communities. But really what I spent most of my career doing is helping to start and then serving as CEO of 21C Museum Hotels, a local business that we started right here on the corner of 7th and Main Street. And we grew it into a national business. We were named the #1 hotel in the entire country for several years. We have over 1,200 employees, and really had an amazing experience helping to revitalize urban areas through culture, through hospitality, through historic preservation, to create more energy and vibrancy in not just downtown Louisville, but other communities across the country, and learned a lot through that as well. Also, I had the fortune to serve on the University of Louisville Board of Trustees, where I really advocated for more accountability. This was several years ago with the previous administration, and I thought transparency was important. I thought stopping unnecessary tuition increases was important, and really accountability. Through that experience, I learned that transparent organizations are stronger organizations, and that's something that I think is a very valuable lesson as I hopefully will be the next mayor of Louisville. But through all of that, I really just have always loved Louisville, and I care a lot about our city. And candidly, I'm a little bit frustrated. Not a little bit, I'm a lot frustrated with where we've been, and I have been for several years. And so when I started thinking about what was next for my family and me, I really wanted to channel that frustration into giving back, to being a part of the solution to make Louisville a safer city, a stronger city, a healthier city, to really work with others across Louisville to move us in a new direction. So that's why I'm running for mayor.
Well, I appreciate you kind of making that transition to talk about why you're running, because one, you know, I've done a lot of interviews over 20 years, and I know that one of the most difficult questions to be asked is, could you tell me about yourself? A lot of people don't always respond to that very well. They kind of freeze up. And you talked about it with a level of excitement, which I can appreciate. And so when it comes to kind of transitioning from the work that you've done and the family that you have with that level of excitement and just kind of joy, it seems, you know, you're stepping into you know, a campaign arena that obviously is a dogfight. And then should you be elected, you're inheriting a lot of the frustrations that you just laid out. So what is it that, you know, your experience and your background, what is it that puts you in a place to be that person?
Sure, well, I talked about some of the professional things I've done, but beyond that, I've always thought my entire career, my entire life, when there are big challenges, there are even bigger opportunities. And that's sort of what I see about Louisville right now, is we have big challenges in public safety, with affordable housing, with our homeless crisis, with creating more jobs, and the list goes on. But there are big opportunities. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make improvements in our city, thanks to the federal government and the amount of money that they're investing in our city. And really, I believe the city's desire, people across this city, to be a part of the solution. So one of the things that I've done for my entire career is create teams of people that can make things happen. And that's really what's key here, because being mayor isn't just about me. It's about the administration, it's about the boards and commission that the mayor appoints to, and it's about inspiring people, leading people, getting people together to be a part of the solution, because it's going to take a lot of people to address the challenges that we have. And so that is one area where I think I will excel, is working with a diverse group of people that share my sense of urgency, that don't believe we need any more studies, that are focused on action, that want to make a difference, that want to move Louisville in a new direction. And so I'm excited about doing that, not just for my administration, but for people who want to be involved, whether it's even in just their neighborhood block watch to make their neighborhood safer. Whatever they want to do to help make Louisville a better city, they will have a role working with me to make that happen. That's number one. And secondly, being mayor is about leadership. It's about leading a team of people. It's about leading a city. It's about having values that are reflective of the city. It's about really being able to make decisions when tough decisions need to be made. And that's one area where I think I'm very different than my opponent, is we have very different supporters. We have very different values. My opponent is there's a super PAC that's being funded by Mitch McConnell that's supporting his campaign. I am willing to stand up to Mitch McConnell. I do not believe that we need Mitch McConnell and his team having control of city government. I believe Louisville wants to move in a new direction, a different direction from where we are today. That's one of the big differences between us, but those are some of the things about me that I think prepare me well to be the next mayor of Louisville.
You mentioned leadership, and you know, when we think about a mayor, that's what comes to mind, right? You're the leader of the city, the CEO of the metro. But what I think gets lost on people in any kind of capacity, I always talk about this in the capacity of the presidential race. We get focused on issues again, yep. Right? And a lot of people, in my mind, don't know exactly what a president does. And I would argue too, a lot of people, you know, you're the leader as a mayor, but a lot of people don't know what a mayor actually does. So when you talk about bringing people together, when you talk about the things that you want to accomplish, and we'll dive into some of your kind of initiatives and visions in a second, but kind of talk through, as you best understand it, obviously, what a mayor actually does. Sure. You know, in committee meetings and in economic development meetings and recruiting meetings.
So the mayor has a lot of responsibilities. First, I think number one is public safety. The police department reports up to the chief, who reports to the mayor. There's fire, there's EMS. Public safety, to me, is the number one responsibility of the mayor and of city government, is keeping people safe. And again, that's a big difference from my opponent and I. No one will have more resolve than me to make Louisville a safer city. Right now, we have a violent crime crisis that we must address. There is far too much senseless gun violence in our city, and I will be very active in cracking down on illegal guns and doing everything possible to reduce the amount of senseless gun violence in our city. That is working with police officers, working with nonprofit organizations that are working to address the root causes of poverty, that are doing more to promote community programs that are enrichment and educational opportunities for teens so that they don't choose a life of crime. We have a comprehensive plan for what we're going to do to make Louisville safer. That to me is the number one responsibility of mayor. And one other thing I want to talk about there is accountability and transparency, because I also think that's critical for the mayor, is we should all, as citizens, demand accountability from our elected officials. So when I come up with plans, I put a checklist at the back of those plans, and so people expect to hold me accountable, because I know that when you're running for office, it's easy to make promises. People expect us to live up to those, and if we're not, to be transparent about why we're not, what we've learned, why we're doing things differently. And so transparency and accountability will be two hallmarks of my administration. So that's one big thing that the mayor does is public safety. Another thing is involved in economic development. How can the city help bring people together to create more good paying career path jobs here, to help businesses that are already in Louisville expand, to recruit new businesses here? Right now we're sitting in downtown and we're surrounded by property that is currently underutilized. It's either for sale, vacant surface parking lots, or owned by the city. What can the mayor do to bring folks together from the private and public and nonprofit sectors to transform this part of Broadway, for example, to make it a vibrant, a safe, and authentic and energetic neighborhood? We need more of that, not just in downtown Louisville, but in every part of the city. And then the third big thing I'll talk about is how the city spends its money. Ultimately, the city's budget is a reflection of its values and its priorities. The city has a roughly $800 million budget, and how it spends those funds or the other hundreds of millions of dollars that come into Louisville from the federal government is a reflection of the values. I believe we need to invest in the biggest challenges of today, of public safety, affordable housing, addressing our homeless crisis, and investing in communities that have been overlooked for your and my entire lifetime. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do that right now, and as mayor, I look forward to working with people to achieve those goals.
So let's jump into some of the minutia of what you mentioned, and full disclosure, as you and I talked about, and just so everyone knows, my goal here is to allow you to talk about your visions. Sure. And hit you with some follow-up questions. But the typical journalistic scrutiny that you'll face in the debates, we'll save for that. I just think it's a great opportunity for people to hear you think and talk. When you talk about public safety, I feel as though most people will agree that that's something that should be tackled. That's probably across the board a big topic. Yeah. So for you, what do plans look like? Sure. As deeply as you want to go, but what is the plan to right the ship? And I would be remiss if I did not point out a personal situation that happened to you. You do not have to address it, but it's something that it clearly is a gorilla in the room.
Well, sure. I mean, I'll start with that. I think it's important, again, to be transparent as someone who's running for mayor, who wants to be mayor of Louisville, to be able to be transparent. But on Valentine's Day of this year, an individual walked into my campaign office and from 15 feet away fired 6 gunshots at me. I am the most fortunate person in the city, in this world, to still be here today. That was a horrible, surreal experience that I'm fortunate to have survived. Far too many people in Louisville are not as fortunate as me. Over 130 people this year have already been killed by guns in Louisville. 330, more than that, have been injured. And thousands of more families and neighbors and neighborhoods have been impacted by senseless gun violence. I have, as a result of that and where the city is, there is no one that will have a stronger resolve than me to work with anyone who wants to be a part of the solution to reduce the amount of gun violence in Louisville. We need to implement solutions large and small. And this is a big difference from my opponent and I. He does not believe that guns are the problem. I do believe that we need to crack down on illegal guns and reduce the amount of gun violence. And let me just give you one of the small proposals that I will change on the first day of my administration. Right now, under Kentucky law, when guns are confiscated by the police, they're turned over to the state, and then they're auctioned off. Those guns often find their way back onto the street and are used to commit crimes again. This year alone, 2,000 guns have already been confiscated by our police. I think that's an absurd and dangerous law, but it's the law. So on the first day of my administration, we'll comply with the law and we'll turn over those guns, but only after rendering those guns inoperative. I do not believe the city government should be in the gun business, should not have any role, should do everything possible that once a gun is used in a crime, it should not ever be used again in a crime. That's just a small solution. We have to do more. We need 300 more police officers that can focus on community policing. And by that, I mean working with small business owners, members of the clergy, neighborhood leaders, getting to know their community so that police can work together with the community to prevent crime from happening, as opposed to just responding to crime. They need more people to be able to do that. They need to be trained in community policing. I aspire for Louisville to have the best police department in America. To me, that means one that's the best trained, the most trusted, and the most transparent. And so that's what I would focus on from a policing. But we cannot just police our way to safety. We need to implement some of the strategies like I just talked about guns. We need to invest in more mental health resources. We need to deal with violence intervention programs that get folks that are targeted, that have already committed violent crimes or that are likely to turn to a life of crime, to again intervene in their life to help give them a new path in life. These programs have proven extremely successful in other cities, much bigger than Louisville, like Boston, in reducing the amount of violent crime. We need to go all in on those. And ultimately, we need to invest in the root causes of poverty. We need to invest more in education. And that's why one of my plans is a long-term strategy is universal pre-K. I believe that every 3- and 4-year-old child in Louisville should have the same opportunity to succeed. And so we need, right now when Louisville's on the map for some of the wrong reasons, we need to put Louisville on the map for a right reason. And let's do that by making universal pre-K a reality, by reaching out to some of the largest foundations across the entire country and asking them to invest in this amazing strategy for Louisville so that every child has the opportunity of a healthy life, a safe life, a well-educated life, and has ample opportunity. So those are some of the short and long-term solutions that I think we need, that we cannot wait any longer to implement, and that I will if I'm elected as mayor.
You talked a bit about transparency and accountability. You brought that up as something that's very important. And then you mentioned the checklist that you had on the back side of a lot of the things. So I feel like you've touched on that. And you kind of made it clear where you stand there. When you talk about economic development and the importance of that, what does that mean to you? And I ask the question this way because it doesn't mean the same for someone in Okolona as it does for someone in West Louisville, and it certainly doesn't mean the same for somebody in downtown. So what does all that look like for you?
So let me go through a few key components of my economic development priorities. First, I believe that we should be focused on businesses that are already located here, whether they're large businesses like Ford and GE and Brown-Forman, Humana, or folks that are just starting up a company. We proactively need to reach out to business leaders and ask, what can we do to help you grow, to create more good-paying career path jobs here in Louisville? Because people that are already here most likely want to stay here, and let's help them grow. Second, when there are opportunities in areas that we already have strength, certain areas of healthcare, bourbon, batteries, logistics, let's go all in on recruiting companies to locate here, because there's nowhere better place in the entire world than Louisville, Kentucky to locate your business. And so we have to do a recruiting in that regard. And then also, I want to attract people who can work anywhere, who want to live in Louisville. But to do that, we don't just have to be an affordable city, but we also need to be a safe city, an inclusive city, a clean city, and a green city. And I think we have a ways to go. Let me talk about that inclusivity for a moment, because right now people have a choice of where they can live in a post-pandemic world. We have some challenges being in Kentucky right now. We have some challenges in Louisville. Things like this extreme abortion ban that are currently in the state right now. We need to fight against that so that women, young women, want to live in Louisville, want to live in Kentucky, and aren't afraid that they might be arrested for violating an extreme abortion ban that has no exceptions for rape or incest or other things. We also need to do a lot to heal our city. We need to heal our city from the challenges that we've had, not just over the past 2 years, but over the past generations, and really unify our city around common themes of racial justice and equity. And as mayor, I believe I can do that. And finally, with respect to economic development, we need to do more on workforce development. We need to make sure that everyone has opportunity to succeed. I don't believe that everyone needs to go to a 4-year college to be successful. There are so many different ways in Louisville, everywhere, to be successful these days. We need to partner with Simmons College, Jefferson Community and Technical College, JCTC, with U of L, with Bellarmine, with Spalding, with organized labor, with private businesses, to give folks the tools and training that they need to have good paying career path jobs. There's so many different ways to do that, and the city can do a lot to invest in those organizations so people have the training. Let me just end with one example. Right now in Louisville, we are 1,500 nurses short. If you talk to U of L Health, Baptist, Norton, all of the healthcare providers, we need 1,500 nurses to fill all the vacancy. Just think as we as a community could educate young people, or even people that want to have a new career, to become nurses to fill those roles. We would be a healthier city, and just think of the wages that we would create, the tax base that we would create by filling those roles. So those are some of my strategies on economic development.
So a lot of, whether it's economic development, whether it's public safety, education, a lot of what you've talked about has had a level of inclusion inherent in it. When we talk about running a campaign for mayor, there's been so much made in recent years around the country of people who were political outsiders, which I guess is the term that people are using now, but people who were not part of the political structure running for office for the first time because they felt now's the time. My voice is welcome here. I belong in this conversation. Having said that, and you stepping into this ring, what is it about the process so far that has either surprised you or just enraged you?
Well, it's been really interesting as running for office for the first time, which I think is very valuable. I think bringing new enthusiasm, new ideas, creativity, and energy is critical for our next mayor, given that where we are. What's interesting, people jump to conclusions before they get to know you, and that's to be expected. So it's my job to make sure people know who I really am, the values that I have, the type of mayor I would be, and also how I'm different than my opponent. And we are very different people. He has Mitch McConnell's super PAC funding a campaign that's running false attack ads against me, and I'm trying to work with the entire city to move Louisville in a new direction. I believe that we should crack down on illegal guns, and that is a key part of the public safety solution. My opponent doesn't. I am very clear that if I'm elected mayor, that LMPD will not arrest women or doctors who might be accused of violating Kentucky's extreme abortion ban. My opponent refuses to make that pledge. So we're very different people. And so the campaign is about getting to know people and having people get to know you as well. Overall, it has been an amazing experience. As I mentioned, I've been running through every one of the neighborhoods in Louisville. I've met thousands of people. I have learned so much about our city, about the great people here, and it's made me even more excited about the opportunity to be mayor, because I know we can accomplish so much if we work together. And that's what I've done my whole career, is work with teams of people to accomplish big things. And I truly believe that we can move Louisville in a new direction by working together. And so, yes, there are better days than some on a campaign trail, but overall it has been an amazing experience for my wife, for my sons, my entire family and campaign team, and I'm excited about the future.
What does success look like for you?
Great question. So certainly I hope and expect that our violent crime numbers will be significantly below where they are today, that we will be a safer city. We need to be a cleaner city. We'll get abandoned cars off the road quicker. We'll clean up graffiti. We'll fix the broken streetlights. We'll have more green spaces. Our parks will be cleaner and we'll be more active. We will have built 15,000 new affordable homes to address our affordable housing crisis. We'll have fewer homeless people on the street because they'll have gotten the mental health treatment and addiction treatment services that they need to lead a new way of life. Our downtown will once again be a vibrant, safe, energetic, unique neighborhood that everyone not just wants to work in, but also wants to live in. And we'll have thousands of more people living in downtown Louisville, and we will have invested money in every part of this community, from west to east, from south to north. Parts of this community that have been overlooked In some cases, in our entire lifetime. In other cases, over the past 20 years since merger, we must do a better job of investing in every neighborhood in this city. And so as mayor, looking back on a 4-year term, those are some of the things that I hope to look back on as accomplishments that together we all accomplished.
I appreciate you sitting down with us today.
It was great to be here.